Hello, I'm Barbara Guinn, Commissioner of the New York State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance. I want to provide a brief update on the significant federal changes to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, approved by Congress and signed into law by the President on July 4th. These changes will directly and negatively affect New Yorkers who depend on SNAP. For the first time since SNAP's inception, the federal government has approved legislation to shift a share of the cost of SNAP benefits to the states, undermining a 100% federal commitment that has existed for more than 60 years. The new law ties each state's financial obligation to its SNAP payment error rate. Based on the legislation, New York State would be required to fund 15% of all SNAP benefits starting October of 2027 at an estimated cost of $1.2 billion per year. Congressional leadership is touting that requiring a state share is necessary to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in the program. This is absolutely a false narrative. First, SNAP error rates do not measure fraud. In fact, according to the Congressional Research Service, recipient fraud in the SNAP program is rare. Payment error rates primarily measure errors made by government agencies and recipients when determining a household's SNAP benefit level, both overpayments and underpayments. We take payment accuracy seriously and dedicate significant resources at the state and local level to keep our error rates low. There are already significant fiscal penalties for states with persistently high payment error rates. The current relatively high payment error rates are not typical, but largely a result of many program changes, increased caseloads, and staffing shortages government has faced since COVID. These workforce constraints are similar to those faced by many private businesses. Again, the attempt to justify the cost shifts as necessary to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse is a false narrative intended to justify federal cost shifts to state and local governments. But make no mistake, the requirement for a state share of SNAP benefits is a staggering federal cost shift, and it's not the only one. Under the legislation, the federal government is also cutting its share of SNAP administrative cost in half, from 50% to 25%, starting October of 2026. This action will increase cost for the state by $36 million and for counties and New York City by $168 million annually. Counties, which all operate on a fiscal calendar year, will have to begin incorporating this fiscal hit into their 2026 budgets due this fall. Congress has also significantly expanded SNAP work requirements that will reduce access to SNAP nutritional benefits. The actions will impose a 3-month time limit on adults aged 18 to 64, including many parents, unless they are working or participating in a qualifying work activity for 80 hours a month. The law greatly limits a state's ability to waive these requirements in times of high unemployment or limited job opportunities. These changes are projected to result in about 300,000 households in New York losing some or all of their SNAP benefits. The bill also further restricts SNAP eligibility for non-citizens. SNAP already has limited eligibility for non-citizens, and the bill further restricts access by limiting SNAP largely to legal permanent residents and a few other narrowly defined groups. This change means about 52,000 people in New York will lose SNAP. Other harmful provisions include the elimination of the SNAP Ed program, cutting $29 million in funding to 18 community-based organizations in all regions of the state that deliver nutrition education. Let me be clear about who voted for these cuts. all 7 Republican House members from New York. The SNAP changes that they supported will negatively impact the communities that they represent. These members voted to take food off the tables of hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers and shift billions of dollars in cost onto the backs of state and local governments in New York, while weakening the very safety net families rely on when times are hard. What could be next is equally troubling. Over the coming weeks, we will learn the specifics of the federal budget plan, and we all need to pay attention. Many of the programs overseen by OTDA could be at risk. For example, the President's proposed budget for the next fiscal year includes the complete elimination of the Home Energy Assistance Program, which is 100% federally funded and helped more than 1.4 million New Yorkers heat their homes last winter. As the state agency tasked with administering these programs, we are deeply concerned, not only for the immediate harm to individuals and families, but for the continued erosion of the social safety net that has helped support low-income New Yorkers across the state. At a time when households are struggling with the high cost of food, rent, and energy, this is not the time to reduce access to vital federal economic supports. Our agency is committed to doing our best to protect the people we serve. We will continue to educate the public, support advocacy efforts, and partner with local governments and nonprofits to respond to the coming challenges. I ask that you do the same. Thank you.